Welcome, my beautiful souls, and welcome to, I'm going to say, another special reading. But I want to let you know this is special because I've heard you, and many who are around my age um, were asking if I could do like a love story. Actually, what I'm going to call it, the second act love story. And I don't even want to really put an age on it, but let's just say a mature audience. Like I'm about to turn 65. I can't believe it. Boy, I remember the days when I used to say, look how old they are. And now I'm that person. Um, no, I don't feel 65. But anyway, I get it, where some are like, can we talk about love, but talk about love for those of us who've, and that's why I'm calling it the second act. Been there, done that, loved, lost, you know, all of that. But I am going to ask, how many questions do I have? Six questions directly to our spirit guides. I'm just kind of loving this format right now, so I'm going to stick with it until something else comes to mind. But we're going to ask. So let me tell you what I'm going to ask, and then we'll get into the reading. Um, oh, and I want to say that, again, this reading is for those who have lived and loved, and you're probably now seeking like a connection that's both mature and deeply fulfilling. Um, I put love built on what, when I write stuff, I'm really writing it to our guides. And I put down love built on wisdom, mutual respect, and shared purpose. So the questions I'm going to ask are number one, what spiritual lessons is my soul seeking to learn through love? And that may sound like a silly question, but this is our soul's journey. So, it's always seeking something. So, number two, what is the soul connection to the next person that I am meant to meet? So, not that, like I feel like you'll know, there'll be something that'll let you know that you're meant to meet. So, what is the soul connection? Are you soulmates? Are you twin flames? Is it karmic? Whatever it may be. We'll let that We'll leave that open. Number three, how do I recognize a partner who is truly in alignment with my values and life goals? At a certain age, that's the thing, like, we have certain ways of doing things that I don't know. Like, I don't know that I would change or I haven't. Um, so, shared interest and all that. Where was I at? Number four. What guidance do your spirit guides want you to know right now about love? So, whatever it's going to be, we're going to leave that completely open. It may show like fear, or, we'll leave that open. Number five. When will true love begin to show? Or, what can I do right now to help the process? So if there's a true love that is already on your path, meant to be, what can I do to help the process? Number six, what type of person is crossing my path and when? So I don't very often ask like when. Um, Something made me say ask when. So when, and then that's really going to be it. I think that's plenty. So, what I want to do is I'm still going to use the major arcanas for bullet points, put them over here right now. We will let Mother Mary have the honor of opening up our reading. I'm going to go ahead and give them a shuffle. Your questions are going to be answered through the Tarot of Dreams, the Crystal Vision, and the Gilded Tarot. And the major arcanas are going to be a story of their own. I have to tell you, I've been getting visions. I had a vision last night of someone, it was a woman, and you were in a class. Um, you're around my age, but you were in a class, and I'm trying to remember what type of class it was. It was something. This is what I do know. It was a class. You were learning something like cooking, or like how to make French pastries, woodworking, and you met someone in that class. And the message I took away from that vision was for some of you, because, it's like my guides knew before I knew I was going to do this reading today. So that vision that I saw, I feel like I have to tell you about it because I feel like it's meant for you. So again, like taking a class where you're interested in it, but also, you know, you may meet someone like-minded. So, boy, I wish I could remember what you were doing. I feel like you were painting. I feel like it was an art class. But I feel like the moral of the story is when you're doing what you love, then you never know who you're going to meet. And when you're doing what you love, then when like if someone's in that same vicinity, then they too, would love it. And I don't know. I don't know why I'm saying this other than like-minded energy. Like-minded energy. Now, I also have to say, I also got a vision of someone on Zoom. And it's interesting that I remember Zoom. I don't even have Zoom. Um, but you were on Zoom and it was the same scenario. It was like I don't know, it was like a class setting, but you could see everyone. And someone had a cup that, like a cup of coffee, but instead of having coffee, they had wine in it. And I didn't feel like there was any issue with that. But the person, the woman, took a drink, and there was a man across the room who somehow knew that what she was drinking was wine, and she took a sip and looked at him when she took that sip and winked her eye at him. Not in a making a pass, but just like, I know you know what I'm drinking. So, anyways, let me just say that my spirit guides were definitely preparing me for this reading. Um, and I'm sorry, I just stopped. I just started talking all of a sudden. And I have a feeling that I had the vision of some of you out in the world doing something you love, but some of you doing it from your own home. And I feel like I saw both to signify that sometimes you don't even have to leave your home. Not in this day and age. All right, so we got 3 from Mother Mary. Let's go ahead and bring the lid down and let's go ahead and start. I say start, but honestly, I feel like the minute I hit start, the reading has started. Again, because like visions I had, I do want you to know about them. We have caring, caring. Heaven cares for me, and I keep my heart open to caring about myself, others, and the world. Caring. But about yourself first, others, and the world. We have, hope. It's like the star card. I trust that God has a wonderful solution and brilliant plans in store for me. Thank you. I will accept that. And then we have Open your heart. Open your heart. I allow myself to feel the full range of emotions, especially all forms of love. And we are doing a love reading. So I like this. Caring, right? A caring heart, keeping hope alive. You know, that's the thing with love. Like, you could be single for 20 years and then boom, you meet someone and they just turn out to be your person. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you can't really plan love. You can certainly help it, but plan it? I don't know. I don't think so. So I feel like it's more about the energy that you're putting out there. Okay. I'm actually going to put these away, but we will turn them this way, just so I have room on the table. Let's bring in the major arcanas. So chances are they're going to relate back to the reading, but something told me to do their own little reading, so that's exactly what we're going to do. Then we'll get to the questions. We have the devil, card of Capricorn. Um, this usually speaks to temptations. You know, I don't know why, but I'm feeling like I get pulled to like the bad guy, the bad girl, but I feel it in like a sexy kind of way. I also feel, as I say that, like I get the seriousness with it also, though. We have justice. Okay. So I feel like it's cutting that energy. You know, unless this is a Capricorn for you, um, the devil is great at casting illusions, making you feel stuck when you're really not. You know, it really is about learning to free oneself, knowing what tempts you in the dark. Chances are, because again, this is our second act, we know this energy. And it may just be simply saying that, like a part of your life was, you know, you just kept getting tempted to the same type of energy that just didn't seem to work out in your benefit. Let's put it that way. And then you have justice. Justice is about balance. And, you know, when I see justice, I feel like something is off balance. Um, but this sword of justice, like, we need to think of that as a gift. That sword lets us cut ties to people, situations, sometimes our own thought systems. You know, I feel like we have to know our past. You know, if we don't understand our past, then are we not doomed to repeat it? And I feel like this is simply what it's saying, that, you know, and it may not even been like, I don't know, I just get this feeling that I just was pulled towards energy, people that turned out not to be good for me. Now, that would be life, right? That would be life. I feel like we've all been there. I remember my um early, let's say in my 20s, like that's what I was attracted to. But when you know better, you do better. And that's what this sword is for. Justice is about making you whole again. But it is using that sword in whatever way you need to use it. It's interesting because it looks like the devil's towel is a sword. It's got that snake around him. Often you'll see the hermit wearing the belt of the snake, almost like what do I want to say? Like mastering the devil. Okay, that's a lot. But because I'm not going to keep these out, I am going to go ahead and take them. Okay, interesting. So I feel like I have to turn these around because they're all reversed. With the chariot, it's interesting because the chariot needs balance to move. Balance of the feminine and the masculine, the light and the dark. I feel like what this is also saying is like, don't beat yourself up for like old relationships that just didn't go well. Sometimes others just don't know how to love. Sometimes we're still learning how to love. That's what I feel our history is about. It teaches us, like, okay, well, I was attracted to this, and this turned out this way. I was attracted to that type of energy, and that. So you know yourself now. The good, the bad, the ugly. Hello, lovers. And look at the chariot moving right to the lovers. And look how first the sword, the cutting of, well, let's just say for some of you, you're using that sword because the chariot, again, requires balance. And then it becomes unlimited potential. And then we have the lovers. And you know what else is interesting? In some of the decks, you'll see the devil's influence over the lovers. They're chained up, they're not looking at each other. It's just like an influence. Look at these lovers. They have the angel's influence now. This is head over heart decision. So that tells me that many of you will be making a decision. And I kind of love that the chariot's right before it. Because I feel like that takes away the fear. And I feel like there's a sense of, I feel like this is a message from your guides where, you need to be in present moment energy to read other people's energy and to trust your energy. Why? Because you have learned so much, you know, and sometimes it is looking back with a different perspective instead of like, oh, look at me. I kept getting attracted to the bad person and then that would follow. You know, no, what did I learn? Now that I know that, I feel like if nothing else, you, but you have to be in the present moment for this, can read energy. You'll feel the difference. All right. Well, hello, Will. Destiny. I mean, before we even get to the questions, the lovers on the wheel with unlimited potential. So, do I feel like that sword is important? Especially because the devil's tail is the sword? Yes, it may be everything. And again, it may just be the realizations, like like a different perspective. I also feel like because the wheel right now is mirroring the devil, you know, that was meant to happen. Those were learning experiences. And yes, difficult. God knows we've all been there, right? Heartache is, oh, okay. We have, look at that strength card. This is you overcoming, no doubt. This is you doing exactly what I was just talking about, looking within. This is taming the beast within. Again, whatever temptations the devil holds, now you see them clearly. Look at her goggles. Infinity. As above, so below. No beginning, no end. How she's just one with the beast. I hate to call it a beast, but it's really the shadow and the light within us. And just finding that balance. We need our shadow self. There's times that we need it. It's not about eliminating, it's about balancing. There's definitely a theme here. We have the hangman. Hang on, you move too fast. So, the hangman, seeking wisdom. It can be a pause in the action. Sitting next to the strength card, what do you find when you really do know yourself? Courage, strength. You don't live a fearful life. Love doesn't become fear, and fear isn't love. See what the hangman is looking at, the death card. Closing of a chapter. Death card is about transformation. Interesting is coming under the lovers. I already get okay. The lovers and the wheel and the death card. I feel like what this is speaking about is definitely soulmate energy, because I feel this is speaking of previous lives. And interesting because this hangman, I'm not going to say like someone has like been in the hangman pause forever, but I feel like this hangman is seeking. Like, I feel like the hangman knows what the hangman is seeking. And I also want to say, like, don't beat yourself up for, I want to say time well served. Again, it's like the knowing of oneself. That's the one thing about being older is I do feel like I feel like I know myself. I know my weaknesses. I know my strengths. You know what I mean? And even in love, it'd be silly to say that there won't be any fear, but there's a difference. There's a different type of, just different. But yeah, I definitely feel like this is talking about someone that you've had previous lives with. And I feel like the hangman is like waiting. So, like, when I say waiting, I don't mean like I'm not doing anything. I'm living my life. But it's this sense that or that you feel that there is someone out there. And for some of you, I feel like what this is saying is you might not have been in love for a while. Maybe you were married, got divorced, and that may have been the last time you've been in love. But, what this feels like to me is like this feels like a reading in itself. Um, so we know that this is talking about love that's soul connected. We know that it's part of your destiny. Um, we know that it was a necessity to really look within oneself, to use that sword, think about the temptations, the things that called to you back in your younger days that today you wouldn't think twice about. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, if I was only married once, but my ex-husband, um, today, the man wouldn't have a chance. Today, the man would not have a chance with me. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. Okay, let's pick these up. We'll keep them also turned the other way in case we want to pull on them. Okay, I'm going to give each deck a quick shuffle and a cut, and then we'll get to the questions. I'm glad I brought the major arcanas out. Um, and honestly, I don't even want to know what the cards are. I like seeing the cards the same time that you see them. Cut. I'm going to give myself lots of room. Hello, King of Cups. Who are you? Who are you here for? Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. You know, what a great king to see at this moment because that king in the upright is all about love. Truly, all about love. I mean, not that's not what they live their whole life for, but you know what I mean? As it relates to love, like I just feel like we were meant to see him. All right. By the way, this is for male or female. Um, all right. Just gonna calm my energy. All right. So, first question. What spiritual lessons is my soul seeking to learn through love? So, what spiritual lessons is your soul seeking to learn through love? How to let go. How to let go. How to begin again. How to take a leap of faith. And sometimes, even when you're unsure, trust your intuition, though. You know, if it feels wrong, it is wrong. Or, you know, I guess it depends on one's energy, but let's just say if we're really in tune with our intuition, if it feels wrong, chances are it is wrong. Now, I also feel with the full, that means if there's, you know, if something is not right, then there'll be red flags. And listen, I feel like we all have received the red flags in our earlier lives, but ignored them. And those are the things we go back and think, what the hell was I thinking? But again, it's not about beating ourselves up. What did I learn? So, what lesson is your soul seeking to learn as it relates to love? I feel like letting go, but then also taking a leap, taking a chance. You know, you've got to take the chance because if you don't take the chance, what's going to happen? Someone may pursue you anyway, but you know, the fool is about putting the past in the past. Usually you'll see like the fool carrying a little knapsack, standing on a ledge, you know, about to leap. I often feel like his angels are on the other side of that ledge, ready to catch the fool if the fool would happen to fall. This is about a new journey. Wow. So letting go and then letting in, not just letting go, but learning, right? Because again, the fool has extracted the wisdom of the past. And we're all the fool on any new journey. So it does signify to me that there must be some type of new journey. All right, let's take crystal vision, two pentacles. Well, I feel like some of you overthink. You might overthink something when it's more about taking a leap. Because again, this is what your spiritual lesson, or let's put it another way, what your soul is seeking to learn regarding love. And it's not that you should just jump right into something. Because again, the fool, first of all, the fool is in the present moment. The fool lives in the present moment. So the fool is guided. We're all guided, but the fool can easily pick up the signs. Past isn't weighing me down anymore, right? I'm free and clear to do whatever I want to do. But then I get this sense. Now, this is called the juggler's card, but I'm telling you, what I'm feeling is some of you may overthink it. This isn't major. I'm not feeling it like a major thing because I feel like the right person will sway you back. But yeah, I do feel that, like overthinking. Ha, Page of Wands, my risk taker. I call this person my fool. So in a way, I have the fool under the fool. But really, this is a risk taker. I feel like what I love about the Page of Wands is this page's journey is about taking chances. And not all of them are going to pay off. But this page is about learning how to get back up again. This is not a fear based energy. So it's interesting. It's mirroring what I feel is fear, not major, nothing you can't overcome. I also I get the sense don't compare past loves to current. Again, read the energy. If it definitely doesn't feel right and you're in the fool's energy, like you're paying attention to your intuition, then that would be the answer. But there's no way I'm doing this reading and your spirit guides are saying, oh, there's not going to be love. No, it's the opposite. They're like telling you that you're going to have to take a risk. But again, this is not a fear based energy. Get back up on that horse again. Get back up on that horse. Okay, so number two, what is the soul connection to the next person that I'm about to meet? The hangman. Interesting, because you also had the hangman. Oh, I like this. The Hierophant. So morals matching doesn't have to mean our morals are exactly alike, but high morals. This is someone who probably does pull on their faith, can be religious, but I'm not really feeling that. I'm feeling more of someone who is spiritual. They're on this spiritual journey. It's interesting because this is a five with the hangman right below it. So this person themselves right now may be going through some type of change. But it's interesting because I feel like that there's also a blessing coming. Nine of Pentacles. Okay, I like that. This is someone who, um, number one, I feel is single. Number two, I feel like is very grounded. You have a lot of earth energy here. This is a card of Virgo, and then the Hierophant is the card of Taurus. A lot of earth. This is someone who I would say is successful. I'm not going to say they're rich. You know, they may be retired at this point, but they probably have a pretty good retirement. They may own their own business or may have owned their own business. You know, there's a change happening for them. This could be someone who, you know, their regret may be I spend too much time working and not enough time loving and living. So I feel like this is someone who is fulfilled within their finances, but not on an emotional level because they are seeking. They're still seeking, right? But they're seeking from what I feel is very high energy. They're also seeking someone who has like morals. So that's interesting. What you're seeking is also seeking you, yet you don't know that yet. Neither one knows that yet. So I like this a lot because I feel like you don't have to worry about money with them. You know, Taurus and Virgo to me are very loyal signs in the upright. So, and I feel like I'm meant to say that. Like, so this person I feel has their finances together. Even if they're in retirement, I have a feeling they have pretty good retirement or probably has put money back, may own their own business. But I again get this sense of like, I've been all work and no play. So now I do feel like this person is seeking change, you know, and I'm looking at this nine, which is the card of Virgo, which is represented by the Hermit, which is the year that we're in, right? The universal year nine. And this year has been all about reflecting so that our lives can be better, what it is we want, but let go of exactly the way it must look. That's why I don't ask like, like their nationality or what they look like, because I don't feel like that's important. And I feel like as we mature, we start to realize that looks are not everything. I'm not saying this person, you won't be attracted to them, but I feel like their moral standing is more important to you. But yeah, I definitely get this feeling of all work and no play, and that is their regret. But listen, I don't feel like they are interested in just giving their heart to anyone either. So I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Okay, so how do I recognize a partner who is truly in alignment with my values and life's goals? I feel like this is kind of answering that. I feel like it's answering um, both questions, but let's ask. So, how do I recognize a partner who is truly aligned with my values and my life's goals? Interesting. Eight of Swords. Hmm. Huh. Four of Wands. The marriage card. My favorite. This is my favorite love card. I just love how this man is putting this woman on a pedestal And by the way, it can be that, each should be putting each other on the pedestal. Because I'm just saying, because I know there's some men here and I don't want, I want you to know that I know you're here. So, anyways, to me, this is the highest form of love. It is called the marriage card. And it is interesting that the Eight of Swords is below that, which is fear. It's a self created prison. You know, the hangman is a pause in the action, but I am seeking, well, they are seeking wisdom. And maybe this might have something to do with them, like breaking free. The fear is over love or commitment. As much as I don't feel you're interested in anyone who's carrying a lower vibrational energy, who wants to go out and party all night. I mean, Sam has said that to me before. Like, what would you do if I went out to the bar without telling you and then came home at like 3 o'clock? I said, I'd leave you. And he's like, what? I said, I would leave you. That's not what I want in my life. I've had that. And listen, I've had a good time myself in my life, but to me, like, it's not what I seek any longer. So it just blew his mind because it just came out like, what would you do? I would leave you. I would leave you that night. And trust me, I've done that before. So anyway, we have the Page of Swords. I feel like open communication is important. It's interesting because I get a feeling that this person has been so tied to, I'm not going to say they're money hungry. I don't feel that. I just feel like they made a good living because, well, because they had the wisdom. Maybe they went to school for something. Maybe they started their own business and it just took off. But, as it relates to love, I just get the feeling this Eight of Swords is more theirs. Like, I want love, but I'm afraid at the same time they may have been married before. You were probably married before. But again, let's go back to the full, right? This is not about what was, this is about what will be. So the Eight of Swords, it is a self-created prison. Now, let me just say, I'm getting another message too, where I feel like some are worried that others won't see the true self. You may be worried that, I'm not 20 anymore. I don't have a 20-year-old body. I have wrinkles. I have gray hair. My body may be a little flabby. Who's going to love that? Who's going to love that? I don't know why. I'm like, I feel like that's your spirit guide. It's like you don't know how lovable you are. That's the thing. You don't know how lovable you really are. This person looks like they're trying to hide from the world, right? They're naked. So it's like they're trying to hide their true authentic self. But I feel like it's more about because I don't feel like who's going to be interested in my true authentic self. I'll tell you who, your soulmate. And then when I already pulled this, so the Page of Swords. Two pages. So one may have been, I feel like the Page of Wands is really you because I feel like it's saying, put yourself if you can into the Fool's energy. Use this year for what it was meant for, and that is the final reflection of the 9-year cycle. And think about when we think of the full brand new, well, we are opening up a brand new 9-year cycle. How do I want that to look? And I feel like this person is in the hermit's energy. They are seeking wisdom. So they're really kind of living what the universe is asking. But I feel deep down, listen, this is what I'm feeling. I'm feeling this person has no interest in just dating. Like they probably don't go to the bar. I just feel like that. Like I have no interest in just like, date like one date after another date. I just want to meet my person. So I feel like both are aligned on that energy. It's just how we're going to come together now. So let's continue. Um, well, the question was, how will you recognize? So I feel like it's going to be through communication. I feel like a line of communication is going to be opened up. Interesting. I don't know how you met them yet. Well, that could be that Zoom, and I'm saying Zoom because that's what I saw. Interesting. And I saw the word Zoom. Um, but yeah, so let's keep going. Where am I at? One, two, three. Number 4. What guidance do my spiritual guides want me to know right now about love? Boy, that almost feels like that should have been there. But the Page of Swords, Page of Swords is right there. The King of Pentacles. Hello, lovers. And how interesting that I just said, it feels like you already met. Hello, lovers. So, the lovers is a head over heart decision. The chemistry, though, is what really makes it undeniable. And you know what? I love this image because the feminine, you can see like she's in current energy, right? We can see her. The masculine, it's right there. They're connected and she's feeling it, right? But they're not together yet. Energetically, they are. Spiritually, they are. But physically, not yet. So the King of Pentacles. Now, if this isn't a king, if this is not, it's interesting. You're getting a lot of Earth, and I feel Mercury, communication. So the King of Pentacles, his specialty is looking at the big picture, where the Queen tries to break it down, which is a good quality. But sometimes, again, I get the sense we started with overthinking. So this king, again, I see the big picture. Um, I definitely feel the King of Pentacles in the upright stands for loyalty, trustworthy, grounded. But even if this is the type of person that's coming in, the chemistry, it's just undeniable. And I feel like what it's saying is this is a type of energy you feel Like, it's almost like that. Feel something good is going to happen. Just feel it. I may not know why, but then again, you know, if let's just say it's you and the Eight of Swords and you needed to break yourself free. Let's go back to justice, way back in the beginning with the major arcanas. And some of it may be thoughts. I don't know why, but I just get the feeling that someone worries, like, someone going to, will love or accept me for who I am. And the answer is yes. Because number one, this goes beyond looks. This is soul deep. So I don't care what the person looks like. The chemistry just will be there. It just will be there. And it's interesting because now I'm getting this feeling of, for some of you, it may start online, like over the phone, over the airways. um, I just feel it all of a sudden. Now, it could be just a conversation that begins, but I have a feeling once a conversation begins, it will continue and continue and continue. I forgot what question I was even asking. What guidance do your spirit guides want you to know about love right now? Feel it. Trust it. See the big picture. Try not to overthink it. You know, even for those who are worried, like, well, like, again, I don't have that 20-year-old body anymore. I want you to understand, it's not that you can't do anything because, like, I put on some weight and I keep thinking I got to exercise. Um, I think I'm going to do Tai Chi. I don't know why, but I think I'm going to try it. Um, So, there are things that we can do if we're that worried. But then again, I feel like it's more for you. It'll make you feel better because I don't feel like it's what has to happen. Okay, let's keep going. Um, and the lovers makes me feel like your guides are saying it's on its way. It's on its way. Are you ready? So, when will true love begin to show? Or what can I do right now to help the process? Oh, look at that. The Queen of Pentacles. King right there. She's looking right back at that Page of Swords. The Devil. Okay. Well, I know one thing. Number one, it could certainly be Capricorn because this is the second time we saw the Devil. But beyond that, this Queen, because she does read between the lines, she's great with reading energy. The only thing is she can overthink. But other than that, I feel like what this is saying with the devil right above her, like, you can't pull the wool over her eyes. You can no longer tempt her. She's no longer tempted, she or he, to that old energy. Done. And I feel like she knows it. Like she knows it. Every fiber of her being, she knows it. Oh my God. Now we have the king and queen together. Look at that. Number one, this must be talking also about making sure that you yourself are grounded because there are so many pentacles. Well, there's not like crazy pentacles, but what I'm really feeling is the groundedness. But look at this, the Queen and King sitting right next to the lovers. She's looking over at the Page of Swords, almost like it's going to start through conversation, but very quickly they're going to recognize. Um, I do feel like this king is the person in the lovers, right? The one that has not shown yet, but that feeling. And, I feel like it is important to you that your morals do match. And again, not exactly, but you have the same goals in mind. It doesn't have to mean that we're exactly alike because sometimes opposites attract. And if that's the case, then you can definitely learn from them and they can learn from you. But I feel like this is talking about the chemistry. And it may be coming again, it's like through communication, but you can still feel it. And I know you can because it reminds me of Sam and I when he reached out, 40 years after the fact, unexpected. Did I feel the connection over the phone? You better believe I did. I got immediately, I felt like a little girl again, like all giggly so yeah, you can feel the energy even if you're not in person. Doesn't mean you won't be because look how quickly they connect. Wow. I feel like this is also saying allow there to be open communication without pushing it too much. You know what I mean? Like of course it's only right, or that we're going to ask questions, and I'm sure they will also. But it's through these conversations that I feel like you're going to recognize, you're going to feel. And again, if there are red flags and you're in the fool's energy, it's not a fear you need to have. I don't even feel, and I don't feel like there's going to be any red flags. But if that is a fear, number one, that tells me you need to trust your intuition or trust your spirit guides more. Talk to them. Talk to them. They're right there. Invoke them. Like, come into my life. Help me. Ask the ascended masters. Like love, but real love. Guide me. All right. Last, but certainly not least, what type of person is crossing your path and when? I feel like it's already been answered, but we'll continue. Six of Wands, victory. Someone who's victorious. You know what I like about this energy? Is there are other people looking up to this person, and it's because of action steps that they've taken. I almost feel like the hero. Not that this person would call themselves a hero, but why do I feel that? Like I feel the energy of a hero, successful, someone that people look up to, action oriented. Wow. What type of person is crossing my path and when? And now we have the lovers again, but look at this one. They're embracing. They're together. Here, they could feel it. Again, I feel like it's communication, but I still feel it. And now they're together. So I feel like your spiritual team is saying there's a very good chance of this coming together. By the way, 6 and 6. Oh my God. 10 of Pentacles. I don't know why I'm saying, oh my God, I would expect nothing less. Because we have the 9 of Pentacles. And this is individual. This is independence. This is singular. This is not singular. This is the house of abundance, the house of loyalty, the house that takes roots. I'm going to pin on the end screen the Queen and King of Pentacles love story. Um, and I'm not saying it has to be like this is saying that it's going to be an earth sign, but there's something I feel like you need to hear in that. But then again, like, don't think just earth. Something is telling me to, it's a very short video, it's like 5 minutes. Anyway, look at this. Singular, together. Singular. I feel you though, baby. I feel you. Together. Feel you? And now we're embracing. I mean, come on. I can't even make this up. And it would make sense. The Queen and King of Pentacles having the 10 of Pentacles. That would make so much sense. Wow. I'm just kind of blown away. But that's a good thing because, you know, if I'm not blown away, then I don't know, but I am. All right, I want to look at the bottom of the decks. 2 of Swords. There's that little fear. Um, can be blocking. But you know what? I feel like the right person would understand this, probably has been there themselves. So I don't feel like this is anything like, I don't feel like it's not the 8 of Swords. We have the moon underneath that. So I feel like where the fear comes from is the uncertainty. You know, we have to get comfortable living in the present moment because this is really where our blessings are sent. Our guidance is sent. It's not back there and it's not out there. It's right here, right now. All right. That, the 2 of Pentacles. First of all, 2 2s in a row. Hello, Ace of Swords. Look at the beautiful roses climbing up the sword like a beautiful vine. It's always been truth, definitely communication. I feel like for a lot of you, this is a signal that it may start like, you may not live in the same town. Now, I don't feel like that for everyone because I did get that vision of you in an actual class. And I feel like you went to like a college or I don't know. because I feel like it was a series, like 8 classes, learn how to paint. It was something like that, but it was the moral of it was something you were interested in, and then you just met someone who just so happens to be interested in the same thing. So I feel like allow that conversation. By the way, it is mirroring the lovers, also the energy of Mercury. This is the card of Gemini, and Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So is Virgo. So communication feels like a big key here, and allowing that communication. I feel like what this is saying is just allow this to flow naturally. There doesn't seem to be anything other than knowing that you're worthy of love. Be in the present moment. That is going to be so important. Be willing to take a chance, a risk. Try not to overthink it. Remember, you can always change paths. Maybe you do go out with someone and you see red flags all over the place. They take you to dinner and then, like, they say, I'm not going to give that waiter a tip. He was terrible. Like, come on. And it probably wasn't even the waiter's fault. You know what I mean? Like, we can see how they treat other people because that's eventually how they're going to treat us. So if you see that, know that. Um, so anyways, I feel like just step into it and then allow. I have a feeling we're going to get that in the romance angels. Okay. So let's go ahead. Let's go to the clarifying love situations. I feel like this reading is, let's just say it flowed so naturally. All right. If there was zero fear, even if I really, really want to find that special partner, I feel like if there was zero fear, it wouldn't be real life. Children are involved or someone is being immature. I have a feeling it's children, not being immature, but the children are involved. Because chances are, not everyone, but some of you have your family, they have their family, and it's probably going to be the blending of a family. But, I feel like that will be just fine. Secret desires. Unspoken needs can plunge you into deep confusion. Unspoken needs can plunge you into deep confusion. Secret desires. Speak your needs. You know, that Ace of Swords speaks of honest communication. And no, I don't feel like like if we go on our first date like this, I should be like, I only want to be with someone I'm going to marry. I mean, I shouldn't even get involved in that. I'll leave that up to you. But secret desires, but meant to be spoken. So let's put it a different way. Maybe you feel their energy, and maybe they're expressing what they're feeling, but you're afraid to express what you're feeling. Express it. Like, again, don't overthink. Try not to overthink. All right, I want to bring out, see if I can get them. Should have brought them out to start with. The romance angels, the magician under the Two of Pentacles. The manifester. Did I manifest this and didn't even know it? Maybe. All right. Romance angels. Okay, that's how it wants to cut. Wedding. The situation involves marriage. Well, we had the marriage card right there. Oh my gosh, past life relationship. I felt that with the major arcanas. You have known each other before. I feel like this is beautiful. You have known each other before. Passion. Allow your heart and soul to sing with joy. Enjoy it. Let yourself experience the passion. Don't let fear get in the way. Be yourself right from the get go. Like, don't wear any mask. Be exactly who you are because you are soul connected. When I say looks has nothing to do with this, I mean it. It's the chemistry. It's an electrical charge that has been charged your whole lives, and I mean for eternity. You know, when I did this reading, I knew, or at least I told our guides that I know that the people who are going to be watching this reading aren't interested in like a date here and a date there and a date everywhere. No, they're looking for their true partner, their partner for the second half of their life. That's what I feel like Sam and I are, where he is my second part of life partner. Even though we fell in love as teenagers, but then we split. And I tell my story so much because I want you to understand, just the energy I was going through at that time. Like I had been with someone for 25 years, and then I decided I was done. So I left. And for 2 weeks, I was single for 2 weeks. And I am very loyal, even to those who don't deserve it. So I know my guides knew that if I was still with my ex and Sam called, no matter how much I wanted to talk to him, I would have been loyal. So what do my guides do? They put it in me to leave, get my own place, be free. And then who calls? Sam. And then every day since then, well, now we live together, but it took 5 years before I made that move. But we talked every single day, every night. So that's why I tell my story because things happen, love happens in the most unexpected of ways. But I feel like this type of love, it probably wasn't meant until now. This is your second act. This is your second act. But this has the potential of being everything. Like, I feel like I'm going to have some people telling me they're going to get married. Now, do I feel like it's going to happen right away? Probably not. But listen, we're being called into the fool's energy for a reason. right? The here and now. That means you're being guided in the here and now. What a reading. What a reading. I feel like the best thing I could say, because I feel like the reading really spoke for itself, but I feel like the best thing I could say is a reminder of the visions that I had and how you were doing something that you either wanted to learn or something you just wanted to hone in and, make it even better. And then you meet someone. But then I also felt that online. So some of you, there is someone around you, like in your town, let's say. And for others, it may not be in your town. That doesn't mean that someone wouldn't be willing to eventually change locations. You know, it's telling us that this situation involves marriage. That means you're coming together. The lovers, they came together. The queen and king, they came together. This person doesn't feel like a bad person at all. It just feels like their biggest regret, though they have a lot to show for it, has been, almost like they may have been a workaholic. But I feel like they know that now. They know that. And now I feel like they are seeking their life's partner also. Again, what you seek is also seeking you. No doubt. What a beautiful reading. What a beautiful reading, especially for those who are about to enter their second act. Now, I'm saying center act, but I'm sure you've had, relationships, more than one or two. But when I say second act, I feel like this is the person that potentially, I have to say potentially, because you have free will. And with these twos, though I do feel like this is the type of energy, even if I'm a little fearful and I tend to pull back, I feel like either, I just feel like this person would still pursue you. Why? Because I feel like they would understand where that fear is coming from. But wouldn't it be nice just not to have that fear and just say, you know what? I'm just going to go into the fool's energy. I'm going to pay attention to the here and now. I'm going to listen to the signs. And by the way, you also have all these sixes in a rows. Well, sixes are about relationships. So I feel like I don't need to talk you into anything else. Like, I want to thank our guides for such a clear reading. Like, I understood every part of it. Now, use your intuition though, because, you know, like it doesn't have to happen exactly the way I'm saying it. Like, you're like the King of Pentacles, see the big picture of it. Okay, I'm going to stop talking. Um, I just love this reading. And I want you to know that I do listen to you. Like I hear your comments and my goal is I want you all to be happy. So, wow. Okay, guys, I'm going to let that be. The second act is the best act yet. I love you. So do they. I'll see you next time at our table. Bye-bye. Look, the reading doesn't want to end.